be easier to put on. So notice the back pad, bigger, thicker, a little more substance to it. The spider that was on the other one for hair, not so much. Now it's just a turn back. The breeching, the brakes right there. Prepper's smaller, everything's smaller. This is what pleasure collar, or not collar.
Harness.
Yeah, pleasure collar versus a neck collar.
So this is a breast
Collar.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing, no collar, no hames.
Correct.
Okay,
No
okay.
No names.
The concept of them is there, but not the, right?
And see how it's centered, how it's balanced.
Oh, yeah.
Ergonomically made. It's a beefy bra.
And now that's a biothane harness.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And it has
I don't
two
think you're going to
tones.
find hardly any leather unless
They
you're in
hardly won't make it.
high dollar showroom.
Right.
Nobody uses
Right.
leather. It rots. Yeah, well, I'm not saying nobody. Shanahan still makes leather harnesses. You're probably talking starting at 4,000
Right,
and then up to about 8 or 9 a piece.
right.
So a 6-horse hitch. They'll use the Shanahans. Ships you on a bob will make leather, but most people use this. Why? They sweat on it.
Right.
It gets
Lightweight.
It's lightweight. The stitching doesn't rot away like
Yeah.
in a leather harness. The
Yeah.
stitching will rot away. So most people are going to what they call a biothane.
Very nice.
Nice.
Poly.
Easy to clean.
Even the collars like Wes has up
Right.
there, I've got a couple of those. I bought the traditional leather. Most of those, believe it or not, are going to poly because that leather, tan leather that you saw on the
Right.
inside, when they sweat that up, what do? Hang it up, put it away.
Right.
No different than the bottom of a saddle, but you have a pad on a saddle. That
Right.
collar is soaking wet. You should see mine. They're kind of moldy and stained.
Yep.
And
Dry
the,
rot.
the
Right.
Amish maker over in Broadhead, he said, "Are you sure you want that leather insert on the inside?" And I did. But leather, high maintenance.
High maintenance.
So, you guys want to come in and put a couple of you on that side.
Come on in, girls.
He is a good fight.
Now, who are you harnessing right now, Dean?
Over. The front one
Where
goes
we
in the
harness
front.
it?
Is that Justice?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know where it was. Was it towards the bottom, Dean? Bottom? Second to bottom?
Probably one or two on the bottom, yeah.
Just as like, what the heck?
One on the front,
Yeah,
2 or
exactly.
3 on the back.
Okay.
I got 2 in the back, 1 in the front. We'll start there.
Good. You guessed it perfect.
That's a little high, but
Hi. Hi, handsome boy. Hi, Justice.
And
So-
then the back pad is coming more the saddle. That's how
That sure isn't as heavy as the other.
No.
Oh, that's handsome.
This is like a showy, more fine pleasuring versus workhorse, hitch heavy, pulling heavy stuff. And then the traces are you buckle these.
Oh, look at that instead of
Good at that.
clicking.
Now, one time I learned the hard way. Make sure on this. We had so much weight in the wagonette that the buckle pulled all the way through. So the horse took a step forward and both traces hit.
So there are pitfalls to either kind.
Yes.
You know, there could be a
Yes.
situation
But
that
this
might.
is a lot lighter and easier to put on, and you can just add your traces.
So would you adapt maybe what you were harnessed to, so that there was so much weight you said in the wagonette that
Yes.
maybe okay.
Yep.
Well,
Or they
having
have
said
them now.
that-
They snap these on now. They don't have the buckle kind. They have a special metal loop that you loop it on. You can still take them off,
Right.
but they're heavier.
Okay. Oh, and he's so happy just to stand here and
Safe-
eat.
And the safety girth, there's the shaft loop, goes through, safety girth, everything's the same. Reaching, about the same size.
what about this? We've got to go
About the same. Where does that actually, wait.
just through the safety or through the
Doesn't it just
right there? I'm sorry. Yes, it does. Thank you.
This thing has all the bells and whistles on it, all the fun stuff. This I thought was, nope, that's the opposite.
Yep.
So I checked, that will keep his head from going down, and then, I know sometimes you get a bad rap of I'll check them for function so they don't eat grass and then get their head out of the shaft and then put their cars. You just go through?
Probably about 3.
Oh, sorry, honey.
Right in the center. We have 2 showing this direction. And she's got a little niceties right there. Hook
Oh, to
everything
hook
up.
'em.
Nice little keeper.
Is that the tug or the trace?
Trace, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Talk, yeah. And who you talk to and what they like to call it.
Now this one doesn't have the
Sure, have a snap. Oh, we took it off, robbed it.
Thing I happen to have one on me.
Just say, just grab one off the bucket in the barn somewhere. Did you want number 3 hole from
Yeah.
the front?
Yep. There's 2 showing behind.
And we'll
Remember the
adjust
trick?
this week.
Scratch, 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 scratch. Tail to come up.
Oh, you gave him a little warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scratch him because I need his tail up. Their tail is so strong you can't.
I know, right?
Hold it up. Baby hairs are out. Up. Hairs right there cut.
And now Justice is a Clydesdale.
Yep.
Yep. And how old is he?
7, 8.
8.
Just
8.
turned 8 in June.
Just turned
That's
8.
exciting.
Okay. And how tall is he, Dean?
Well, you guys just did him in camp. 17.3. 17.
Wow.
17, 2.5.
17.
Wow.
Yep.
And his weight, are you guessing?
We did, they taped him, he was 16.40.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that much smaller than Hank in weight-wise.
Wait, yeah,
Okay.
I don't have the substance.
Okay. And of course, he's got feather. We all know about feather.
So the lines go
And-
through.
Now, these will be tricky with the snap-on, so.
Okay. So these are very nice small lines, so they're easy on your hand.
Would you believe Dustin Brooks drives a 6 with these?
Wow.
Wow. Well, think of the weight.
He
You
can't
got it.
hold the, he doesn't like to hold the big line.
No, there's no
So
way.
when we drove a pair the other day here, he couldn't believe how heavy my lines were because he doesn't use anything like that on a 6.
Wow.
I said it might be
Ooh, see right there? Caught right under his tail.
The line was?
Yep, right
Wow.
now. So you want to know why you got the tail? I couldn't move the line just now. Because it got under his tail. You can't
You
physically
move it.
Imagine in the
'Cause he
vehicle.
tucks
You're
his-
driving,
yeah.
and you catch it,
Right.
and you got a full tail. 'Cause
Right.
The flies, and it inevitably happens. They catch your line, and you have to slow down or stop. Hopefully you're not in the middle of something major at that point. And if you kind of, and I used to take my whip, I'd turn it over and use the handle, and I'd rub them back and forth
Right.
to get them to raise their tail, so I could bring the line out. Just like when
Oh.
you guys are flipping your rein around in the bit
Right.
when they get flipped one way or another.
What a great example of that happening here versus
Yeah,
when he's in.
I was calling it, it wouldn't go.
That's a nice looking harness too.
Real nice, cleaner. It's gross.
Yep.
But,
All right. Look at it. So here's the look of it.
so now in the ideal world, I didn't have this. We had a lot of bells and whistles added. The bridle, you'll see, has got a lot of bells and whistles to it. And what that means is ease of use. That's what bells and whistles are. It costs money, but it's ease of use. These were custom made for him. So we had to measure him, and then they built it. It's got adjustments, of course, so I can put it on Joker or Jake barely. But the bridle has them. Ideally, I should have had a clip up here, and I think I need to find somebody to do it. When Justice was trained by Stephanie Ruppel, she used this type of a harness, which is why I went and bought one. It's made by the Amish out in Pennsylvania. It's called Yannis, Y-O-N.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes, they're very famous. Look them up. They supply most of the competitive trail driving and racing with harnesses.
Right.
But hers had literally 3 pieces: breast collar, back pad, and breeching. So when I saw that and I watched her hooking Justice up, I was like, I want that.
Right.
You sling those hames up over them, you catch yourself in the face, it's wonderful. You drop the hard part of the hame right on their withers and they
jump.
jump.
That.
It's absolutely miserable.
Right.
This is just so sweet. Now, having said that, like what Wes has, a regular big traditional harness, we had one for showing at the World. However, it was a show harness, so it was much fancier and a lot more bling and whatnot. And it did have all separate pieces, but you
Right.
pay for that. So we put the collar on with the hames, we put the back pad on, we put the breeching all on, and it all clipped together. Even these traces came off. So you click those all on. But again, it all comes with a price.
Right. Convenience
The
does.
blinkers, winkers, blinders, they're cupped. Nice ones are cupped like this to make room for their eyeballs. The cavesson comes all apart to make it easier to put on. This has what's called a side check. On each side, it will connects to the bit,
Oh.
keeps his head from going down and eating grass.
And the cavesson also connects to the chin strap. right?
Yes, so
So we have a cavesson with a loop on it, so we can put
and you can
a
lead
chin
from
strap.
that.
We can lead with a nice lead
Oh,
rope.
Yes.
and then you've got a butterfly bit here with
Yes.
the French link. it
Yeah,
looks
so you
like.
don't get anything caught on it in the
Okay.
vehicle. All right, showtime.